everybody? What's up? Good evening. Blessings to each and every one of you. I know y'all have not heard from me in a while. It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, represent Mocha's Cafe de Paris, where I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. So most of you who already know me and been following my channel, who are pretty much loyal subscribers, I'm sure y'all notice I do not sound nothing like my usual self. And that's because I've been up under the weather. So that's why I haven't been uploading, and I actually sound better compared to how I sounded a couple of days ago. I couldn't even talk, so I'm still slowly but surely recovering from a flu. So y'all keep me in y'all prayers. But nevertheless, I had to, I felt it was very necessary to at least do an upload today concerning the situation, the unfortunate, untimely passing of rap group 𝐜𝐚'𝐬's member by the name of Takeoff. I'm sure everyone has been hearing about it. It's been buzzing all through the YouTube streets, all through social media, through Twitter, through Facebook. So, you know, of course, anytime death takes upon someone who's been very successful, especially a person who for the most part has had a very good reputation, never really had too many crows, you never really heard anything too negative about them. Certain individuals, it really hits close to the heart when you hear good people who lose their lives as such, you know, basically hood shenanigans. And there's so many young black men, especially those in the hip-hop community, that are constantly, consistently being targeted, and they are ending up murdered. They're being killed over a lot of frivolous things that really don't hold weight to the value of life. So nevertheless, I'm going to read from an article. I don't want to go too far into it because I don't want it to take away from the message and the content that I have in store for y'all today. So nevertheless, I got to read it because everybody hasn't had time to read up on or to really know what happened and what transpired to Mr. Takeoff of the group the 𝐜𝐚'𝐬s. First of all, my heart definitely goes out to his family, to his mother, to his siblings, to his friends, everybody in the hip-hop community that has had some type of bond or relationship with Mr. Takeoff. So nevertheless, I'm going to go ahead and read the article. It is from CNN. Takeoff, who was 1/3 of the platinum-selling rap group 𝐜𝐚'𝐬s, was shot and killed early Tuesday in Houston, Texas. A source close to the group confirmed to CNN. He was 28 years old. Police received a call of shooting in progress around 2:34 p.m. local time. Officers arrived to 810 Billards and Bowling, Houston, where there was a private party and found a dead man at the scene. Two other people, 23-year-old man, 24-year-old woman, were also injured in the shooting and took themselves to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Employees told police an argument took place after the party ended when a large group of people gathered at the front door area outside of the building, which led to the shooting. At least 40 people were at the scene at the time of the shooting. A lot of people that were there fled the scene and did not stick around to give a statement. Fenner identified the deceased man as 𝐜𝐡𝐚'𝐬 Ball, also known as Takeoff of the rap group 𝐜𝐚'𝐬s. I got many calls from Houston and outside of Houston. Everyone spoke of what a great man, great young man he was, how peaceful he is, what a great artist he is. He was very well respected and known for being nonviolent. I would not expect him to be involved. We have no reason to believe that he was involved in anything criminal at the time. Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner said they have met with Takeoff's mother. Doesn't matter how famous you are, you may not be famous at all, Turner said. Anybody who loses his or her life is a life lost, and there are many family members and friends who are grieving as a result. The news of Takeoff's death was a blow to the hip-hop community, still recovering from the fatal shooting of rapper PNB Rock in September. Stars took to social media Tuesday to pay tribute and express their condolences over the death of Takeoff. So, of course, many rappers, you know, gave their condolences. They posted wishing their condolences, giving their grievances about how they felt towards Takeoff. So, Born in Lawrenceville, Georgia, Takeoff began performing with his uncle and fellow rapper Quavo, along with Offset as Migos in 2008. The trio found fame with their 2013 single Versace. Their success only increased in 2016 with the release of their hit Bad and Bougie, which also featured recording artist Lil Uzi. The single quickly became an internet sensation, giving birth to a multitude of memes that played off the lyrics "Raindrop, Drop Top." The song got an even bigger boost after Atlanta creator and star Donald Glover name-dropped the single during the acceptance speech. So, nevertheless, y'all, again, I know this is a very tragic situation, and this is definitely going to go down in history as a very significant loss. A lot of us are still recovering from a lot of phenomenal rappers that's known in the black hip-hop community that has lost their lives senselessly. Trouble, PNB Rock, it's so many that, you know, Young Dolph, you know, I can go on all day listing and naming every last one of them, but this is my personal intake that I wanted to share with all of y'all. I know it's going to be millions, thousands of bloggers that's going to cover this, but I felt it was necessary for me to pretty much give my intake on the situation, because I too lost a brother from violence in 1994. Not only that, I've also been a former correctional officer working in the system, being amongst young black males who have committed very heinous violent crimes towards other black men, and just working in the inside, seeing how it affects them, how it impacts them, what they go through mentally and emotionally after making such a drastic decision, all for ego, all for street cred. So, you know, I just felt like, you know, I have some sort of knowledge in which I can contribute to this particular situation at hand. So anyway, today's recipe, the name of the content is "Success is an irritant to malnourished ninjas." So the reason I say that is because it's very unfortunate that as a young black male, and in some cases as a young black woman, success is not very easy to come by. In other words, for the most part, a lot of us have had to jump a lot of hurdles. We have had to make a lot of sacrifices because things aren't always handed to us. So nevertheless, there are so many young black men that are becoming victims of violence, and it's starting to become a trend, mostly with successful black men. And this just doesn't have to be somebody that's a rapper or an athlete, but this is what we hear about the most, because you know, unfortunately, celebrities do get more shine, do get more notoriety compared to the average Joe. So it's a lot of black men that are being murdered every single day, but you just don't hear about it on the news because they're not famous enough, they're not well known enough. Even in my little neighborhood, in my little county where I live at, it's so many young black males that have been murdered. And some of these young black males were not successful rappers, but some of them, I know one, for example, I covered a story on him a couple of years back by the name of 𝐜𝐴𝐚'𝐬. He was a hard-working, married black man who had been working with UPS Postal Services for many years, was well respected in the neighborhood, well respected in the community. No one had anything bad to say about Mr. 𝐜𝐴𝐚'𝐬, and he had a very good, solid reputation to be a black male, you know. And I don't say that in a negative limelight, like it's improbable for a black man to have a clean reputation, but just knowing the daily stereotypes and the constant battles of what black men have to face and go through, and many was still able to survive and rise above it and still become successful, is a blessing within itself. So he was not a star, he was not a rapper, but he was a family man and someone's husband who believed in providing, taking care of his children, had all of his children from one woman, took care of his family, held his job down for years, and all of that was snuffed out at some smoker, malnourished ninja by the name of Victor McMiller, who basically did not have anything going for himself. Just a typical broke down thug, you know, looking for a lick, too lazy to go work and provide, to be a real man. So he saw this, ran up on this man and his wife as they were leaving the fair, having a couple's night like most couples do. They were going to their truck, getting ready to go home for the rest of the evening, and get ready for work the next day like any other couple. And he decides to come up on them and approach them with a gun, rob this man, jack him of his wallet, not only jack him of his wallet, also shooting his wife for her to survive and for the man to lose his life and to end up dead in his hands. So even after the man cooperated, gave him everything, he still killed him and he still shot his wife. So here it is, a black woman who is forced having to be a single mother and continue to finish walking with the baton, having to carry out the legacy and finish it without a husband. And it did not have to be, because this was a man who actually had importance in the black community, because he was somebody's father, he was somebody's husband, he was an outstanding citizen. And again, all of that was snuffed and taken away by a malnourished ninja. And I'm going to go more into the definition of that, because you're going to hear me say it a lot. So you don't have to just be famous. Any type of success automatically becomes a threat. Now, I've been said this before in my last video when I covered this subject a couple of months ago, when I spoke on Mr. 𝐜𝐚𝐚, who lost his life at the hands of a thug, Mr. Victor McMiller, who is still currently awaiting court. It's been going on 3 years, and the courts have not been in no rush to hurry up and try this man so his wife and his family can finally get some peace and justice. But hopefully God will resolve that and give them peace in due time. I've said this before, that the biggest threat of black men is not black women. I cannot stress this enough. I know that's all we hear on YouTube all day, how the black woman is always trying to bring the black man down, how the white man is always trying to bring the black man down, how the white woman is always trying to bring the black man down. But very rarely does anybody ever touch upon the fact that it's always struggling black men who are always trying to bring down successful black men. We've seen it once, we've seen it 1,000 times. The biggest threat of black men, the biggest threat to black men is other black men who are failures, who have failed in the community, who have failed in the society. They are basically a nuisance to society. They are the bottom of the barrel of the community. They are a burden. They are dead weight to society. You have these malnourished ninjas, which brings me to my definition of what malnourished ninjas are. These are basically young black men that are starving. And when I say starving, meaning that they are hungry for opportunities that they very well also have the right to be privileged to, but because of laziness, ignorance, some were coddled by their mommies, some of them come from fatherless homes where there was no real father who structured them, or they had a father who structured them, but they was just rebellious, hard-headed, did not respect the foundation of fatherhood or leadership coming from their fathers. And because of that, they have put them own selves in a situation in which they have become starved. They have become starved for knowledge, starved for money, starved for success. So basically, they starved themselves. They did not feed themselves with the same opportunities that other black successful men have fed themselves with. You have black men out here who own their own businesses, even if it's just a car wash, even if it's just construction. If they don't own a business, you got black men out here who work daily to provide for their families. And I don't care if he's working at Popeyes frying chicken, or if he's working at a car wash washing cars, or if he's working doing construction, or if he's a correctional officer, or if he works as a bus boy busting down tables. You have men out here, black men, who've made the choice to not become a burden to society by robbing people, stealing from people, murdering people to get their personal goods from them. You have black men who have made the ultimate decision to go the opposite direction and earn their way the right way, to earn, not take, to work, not steal. You have had black men who have made the decision to not put themselves in a predicament in which they're ending up in prison or ending up in the graveyard. So these malnourished ninjas, on the other hand, are young black, or basically, I won't say young, because you got some older black men over the age of 30 that still have not gotten out of that thug mentality. But the malnourished ninja has basically given up on life. He's given up trying to do things the right way. He wants things the fast way. And because he has failed at being a real man, any man that is a real man, that is a successful man, that comes anywhere near his perimeter, whether if it's a spontaneous encounter, whether if it's the man is parking his car, getting ready to get gas so he can go to work, and here it is, he's standing, the malnourished ninja is standing outside in front of the hood corner store looking for a lick, looking to catch another black man, or anybody for that matter, vulnerable, so he can pull out his trigger, rob him, take him of his goodies, and still take his life. So you have the malnourished ninja, who is basically, he has given up. He sees no hope. He's not motivated to do anything. He's not, he lacks ambition. He basically does not have a future. And he has basically accepted his life as a failure. So once a malnourished ninja has gotten to a place in which they feel as if they are failures, and once you feel that you are a failure, basically you put yourself in a position where you feel like you're a loser. So what does a loser tends to feel? A loser feels like he has nothing else to lose at this point. Because if you are already feeling like a failure, you're automatically going to feel like a loser. And once you feel like a loser, guess what? Losers have nothing to lose. So the malnourished ninja takes it upon himself, at the mercy of another successful black man who only wants to do what's right. He would rather take his life, rob from him, steal from him, and if it means killing him in the process to gain whatever the personal gain he's trying to gain, he's willing to do that, because he doesn't even value himself. He does not value himself. And one thing about a malnourished ninja, they don't value themselves. They have no self-worth, just like the low self-esteem black women that get dragged about consistently, constantly through the YouTube streets. That is the same way the malnourished ninja, his mindset is the same way. He does not feel worthy. He does not really feel like he has a purpose. Because anytime a man feels he has value, feel he has a purpose, the less likely he is to make decisions that's going to cause him to lose his freedom or to lose his life at the expense of taking somebody else's life or taking somebody else's freedom. So you have this malnourished ninja. Some of them come from broken homes. In some cases, some of them did not come from broken homes. They came from homes where there was a mother and a father. But somewhere along the way, they did not feel the need to respect their parents that they were supposed to perceive as parents who was guiding him to make better decisions, to have a purpose fulfilled in his life. So it's either one or two things. He's come from a broken home, or he's just straight up a knucklehead. He's a knucklehead. He's a hardhead. He's pretty much giving up on life. So, nevertheless, what's going on now is you have a lot of these rappers who have finally have arrived at their destination in success. And we know what comes with the lifestyle of a rapper. You're going to have a lot of money. You're going to have a lot of women. But at the same time, it does come with a lot of haters. It does come with a lot of envious people. And it comes also comes with possibly your life being taken from you. We are consistently and constantly seeing the trend of this occur on a daily basis. Nothing is wrong as with being successful. And that's what I need a lot of people to understand. A lot of people now are looking at hip-hop as being a cursed type of career for anybody, for any black male to basically walk into, to partake in. You know, the black hip-hop community is basically getting a lot of negative pushback because we're consistently seeing a trend of black male hip-hop artists. But it's not so much just that. That is one factor. The other factor is there are far too many successful black males. For whatever reason, they feel the need to return back into the same very communities in which people who knew them when they were starving artists and did not have anything. This is the part that a lot of rappers are not understanding. And I get it. A lot of people want to drag these rappers and bring the heat down on them and say, well, why would you go back to the hood? Why are you going back to the hood? We saw PNB going back to the hood to a chicken and waffles with all the money he made. He could have went to any extravagant restaurant, but he chose to go to the restaurant in the hood. We also seen it with Young Dolph, who chose to get his cookies and his camouflage expensive Lamborghini in the hood to Makita's cookies. You know, when all his money he had, he could have sent a bodyguard, he could have sent Uber Eats, he could have sent anybody to go get his cookies for him. But he took it upon himself to drive himself there. And my thing is, everybody is mad with these hip-hop artists, which, and I get that. I'm gonna speak on that too, who feel comfortable going back into the hood being flashy, and it's their fault for being flashy. Why you going back in the hood and this and that, trying to flash this and that. I'll get to that point later. But my point is this: when it comes to these hip hop artists who return back to hood, go back to their hoods, the reason a lot of them tend to do that is because you have to realize, once you have climbed that ladder of success, you start to lose your normalcy as a human being. In other words, I, as myself, like some of you, we're just typical nobodies. And I don't mean that to throw shade or put any of us down, because everybody's somebody. But when you don't have the celebrity status, guess what? Mocha can go in any Starbucks and get her drink. Nobody's not going to give a shit. Nobody's not asking for my autographs. Nobody's not asking to take pictures and selfies with me or whatever. I can go wherever I want to go. I can pump gas. Nobody paparazzi is watching me pump gas. Nobody's watching me go to Wendy's to order a burger. I still have my normalcy. I have my privacy to a degree. And what tends to happen, once you have been in stardom for a significant amount of time, what tends to happen is you start missing your normalcy. You miss that life as much as it's too much is given, much is required. I know a lot of y'all don't want to believe that, because it's like being a millionaire. Why would you miss the hood? Why would you miss, going to Bubba's barbecue in the hood? I mean, you a millionaire. Why you won't just get this? You could afford to get $200 ribs. Why you want to go in the hood and get the $12 ribs? Knowing you can get jacked and somebody can hurt you. Basically, the reason why a lot of these rappers return back to the hood is because sometimes you just miss being your regular self. You just miss that normalcy. You miss that normalcy even at times. When I was not living in Georgia at the time, and I was living in Connecticut, I was homesick. You know, I miss my childhood home. I miss my childhood community where I grew up, where I went to school with everybody. You know, you miss your roots, basically. You miss your roots. All of us, it don't matter how much money you got, how successful, unless you was really in a very abusive situation or a really terrible situation, then it may be an exception. You may not miss nothing about where you came from or where you was born and raised. But for the most part, if you had a healthy, wholesome childhood, you're going to miss just going back to your old neighborhood, just riding to the park, just see how much things have changed. Sometimes I do it now. Sometimes when I miss my grandmother, because my grandmother's been gone for a couple of years, I miss or I yearn certain things about my childhood. It comforts me to drive to certain places in which I remember playing at that playground, in which I remember going to that house to get a pickle or to get a thrill, in which I remember going and sitting on that particular picnic bench having free lunch with my cousins and my brother before he passed. Basically, you yearn to be in your hometown. You miss home. There's nothing deep to it. You know, we all miss home. And sometimes you just want to get away from the stardom. Because a lot of hip-hop artists who've been in stardom can tell you, stardom is hell. It's a lot. Everywhere you go, you got to keep taking security with you. Everywhere you go, people wanting selfies. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure you appreciate the love. Sometimes you love the attention, you love the fame. But sometimes you just miss that normalcy. You just want to go home and get those cookies that you used to love when you was 10 or 12 years old. You want to go back to that little neighborhood and show love to your childhood friends who you grew up with. You know, you want to go back into that neighborhood and visit your grandmama. If you blessed to have a grandmother living, and just sit on the porch and talk with your grandmother. You don't always want to be around security guards. These are people who work for you. They're not family. They're not your roots, you know. So sometimes, you know, you get people like Young Dolph and PNB. You get these rap artists. They're still human beings. They just want to go home and be around their own people. Some of y'all live in different states. You don't live with your family. You don't live with your friends. Every once in a while, you take a vacation just to get back to your roots. Just to go see how Big Mama doing. Go stop by, see your cousins. Hang out with your family. You miss that normalcy. And I believe that is really what happens, because as the saying goes, it is lonely at the top. And no matter how famous you are, you can get very lonely in stardom, because it's a lot of stuff that you go through that a lot of people don't see behind closed doors. They just see the fame, they see the notoriety, they see the success, but they don't realize what you got to go through when you got family members calling you. They about to get their lights turned off. They about to get evicted out their house. You got friends who are in the bind, who you know from back in the day. You still cool with them. They calling you. They about to lose their car. Their mom about to lose their house. It's a lot of pressure that you end up encountering once you walk into the life of stardom or success. So therefore, with all of these gimme folks, you know, constantly surrounding you, you feel obligated to a degree, because it's like, well, damn, they was down for me when I was selling damn mixtapes outside the back of my trunk. Well, yeah, they did give me rides to the studio, you know, when I ain't had no gas money. So once you walk into stardom, sometimes you still feel obligated to pay homage to the hood, to pay homage to people, your childhood friends, to your family. You don't want to you don't want to leave that bad stain of, you know, no longer being down, or no longer, you know what I'm saying, acting like you too good, you know what I mean, to show love to your community, you know what I'm saying. So it's a lot of pressure, and it affects everybody differently. You got some people that hit it big and leave the hood and say, fuck that, I don't give a damn if they call me a sellout. I don't care if they say, oh, you know, you ain't never been down. I'm trying to stay safe. I ain't trying to do nothing for nobody. I'm going to live in Beverly Hills. I ain't never coming home visiting nobody. Hell, my family, I'll pay for them some flights and stuff and book them to come and see me. You get some people, they never want to return to the hood. They don't want no parts of it, and that's fine. You know, in this day and age, it's not just fine, it's actually wise. Then you have others on the other hand who don't feel that way. They feel like, yes, I am successful, yeah, I am famous, but at the same time, you know, I'm not going to forget where I came from. I'ma still show love. I'ma still pay homage. We see Nipsey Hussle open a business right in the same neighborhood in which he was born and raised. I mean, in which he gave back to the black community, and that was the same community in which somebody who lived within that community took his life. It's a lot of rappers, most of the time, they get killed in the cities in which they represented or was born and raised. Same thing here. We got a rapper by the name of Camouflage who was very, very big in Savannah, Georgia. You can look him up, y'all. He put Savannah, Georgia on the map. Flage was definitely very skilled. He was a phenomenal rapper. You know, nobody knew who Savannah was until, you know, he elevated the rap game, and everybody got to know more about Savannah through him. And of course, you know, some of these rappers have done some misdeeds, you know, before they get into fame, before they get into success, and sometimes it comes back to haunt them during their success. And Flage was known as a street guy, a thug guy, who did some, you know, just allegedly, from what I heard, he you know, he did some things, you know, he took some dudes out, whatever, allegedly, and allegedly it came back on him once he started progressing into his music. And he was this close to getting signed with Ludacris and getting a record deal with Sony. So he was this close out the gate from getting out the hood. And Flage was one of those guys that stayed true, represented. He was not going to let nothing intimidate him or run him. So he knew, you know what I'm saying, what he was up against. But his motto was, I'm going to stay true to the streets, because the streets have always been true to me. So I guess in a sense he felt like he was obligated to stay true to the streets, since the streets is what made him become the successful rapper he was. And you have a lot of rappers who think like that. They think they still owe the streets because the streets is what made them the streets is what played a major part in them becoming successful. So you get some guys who think like that. So, you know, it's easy for anybody to be like, well, damn, if I made that much money, I'd be trying to get away from the hood. It's easy for people to be like, well, hell, he's stupid for staying in the hood. He should have been trying to get out the hood. You can look at it either way you want, but everybody has their own mindset. Everybody's heart is not in the same place when it comes to that type of situation. You got some people that just want to stay within their roots, no matter how successful they get. And you have others, as soon as they get successful, they don't want no parts of the hood, nothing in which they got to deal with the backlash of being successful. And I get it both ways. I totally get it both ways. But nevertheless, you have a lot of people who who tend to bash and criticize rappers for returning home to their hometowns. But again, as I indicated, sometimes these guys, they just be wanting to have a life of normalcy. But unfortunately, these days it's costing them, because you're not going back to these same hoods as a struggling dude or a dude in poverty that was standing on the block, you know what I'm saying, slinging rocks or selling some weed to make ends meet. You're on a whole nother level now. And when you return back to the same hood in which you struggled, into the same hood where you got to return to the same individuals who struggled with you, your success becomes an irritant. Your success becomes a slap in the face to poverty-stricken Negroes. Because they know when you come down in your Lamborghini, when you come down and your $300,000 jewelry all over your neck and your hands and your arms, whatever, they know they will still be left in poverty. You are leaving them behind and you're going back to your life of luxury. While they're here worrying about how they're going to help their mama, pay the light bill, while they're worrying about how they're going to pay child support to the 3-4 different baby mamas they got, you know, how they going to eat, how they going to make ends meet. They know through your success that you no longer have that obstacle. And a lot of these malnourished ninjas, they can remember when once upon a time all of you struggled together. But what irks them, what eats them like cancer, is that they remember when you all was in the same level of poverty together, but you were one of the ones who made it and they didn't. And what tends to happen is your success becomes an eyesore. Your success becomes like a rub, like you rubbing it in their face. And let me tell you something. It doesn't matter if you have a good heart. You can take all the guys in the hood and take them to get something to eat, take them shopping, just so you could try to deter them from being envious. In other words, thinking as long as you share with them, as long as you give back, as long as you look out, you won't become a threat. That still don't matter, because no matter what you give them, they know that's only temporary. It's only going to last them temporarily. The food that you buy for them, the clothes that you buy for them, the one or two bills you get them money to take care of, they know they're still going to be starving, and your level of hunger will never be the same as theirs. It don't matter how much you share. And I think that's what a lot of these rappers don't understand. Your hunger is no longer, your hunger is not as strong as theirs, because you have reached a level of success. So I lost my point, had a phone call. But my overall point is this. Once you have entered into success, back into the same domain in which you was in poverty before the success. It doesn't matter how much you share. Nipsey Hussle did it. Even Dolph gave back to the community. These guys know they still gonna be in the hood. And what tends to happen is when you make your presence known in the hood, you're basically going on the battlegrounds of poverty, because since you've been in your world of success, poverty has steadily been increasing in the hood since you last left. Rent has gone up, prices on food has gone up. Things have gotten far worse since you have left. And when you return into the hood and they see you in your Lamborghini, they see you rocking all your jewelry, they see you, you know what I'm saying, living the life of luxury while they're still walking the streets of poverty. What it does to them, and this is their mindset, I'm not saying I agree with it, but from the malnourished ninja's standpoint, it's like you're basically trying to stunt. You're basically insulting them. That's how they look at it. I don't agree. Like, who does so-and-so think he is? Coming around being flashy. And it's not so much that you're being flashy, but success is an irritant to struggle. Success is a slap in the face to struggle. Success is betrayal. to struggle. And while the lifestyle of fame and luxury is steady feeding you and fattening you up, the poverty and the struggle these malnourished ninjas are going through, they're steadily starving. And when you come anywhere in their perimeter, and the moment they catch you slipping, you comfortable. In the back of their mind, they feel like you think you cocky. You think you somebody. You're not coming in the hood to take them back with you, to take them back to your mansion with you, to take them back to Beverly Hills, Baldwin Hills, wherever you're not taking them back with you. And they know it. They know you are leaving. You're just visiting poverty while they're stuck in poverty. And some of these men are just that broken. They lack just that much value that your success makes them feel insignificant. Your success makes them feel less than a man. So, what do they have to lose by taking the man away from his success? As far as he's concerned, he's already broken. He's already broke. He's already in poverty. He don't have nothing. He don't have fans that adore him. He don't have family that's dependent on them to pay for their mortgages through their mansions and townhouses and stuff. What does he have to lose by making you lose your life? Absolutely nothing. This is the mindset of these individuals. I worked in a correctional facility with young black men who walked around scratching their balls, twisting their hair, jacking off at night or on female officers, having little or no conscience as to the very reason of what brought them there. The fact that they murdered another black male. They have no regards, no respect for life. And as I stated, most of them has given up anyway. And in a sick type of notion, some of these guys, they'd rather be incarcerated and lose their freedom than to be in the streets and have to struggle to survive. Some of them coming out of prison, coming out of jail, and act like that the Continental, they're at the Motel 6. They're at the Econo Lodge. Like, it's just a place to crash and chill for a while until life starts sinking in, especially after they seen that judge. I've seen black male felons sit in the jail for 3-4 years waiting because the judicial system is in no rush of getting these black men, setting them free. They take their time. And it's not so much the judicial system is intentionally taking their time. They're so backed up because the courts are so flooded with so many black male felons that have murdered so many other black men. They don't have time. They don't have the time to knock all the cases out as quickly as they need to, because it's too many. The courthouse, the courthouse is getting filled every day, like the jailhouse is getting filled every day. Let's put it this way: for every 100 to 200 men that's getting shipped off into prison after getting their sentencing from the courts, it's 500 more just coming in to fulfill in of 200, 300 that just got sent off. That's how bad it is. And I know because I worked there. Soon as they ship off 10 to 20 felons, and sentenced them to 15, 25, 30 years. Most of them life. Here it is, a new breed of felons. It's like, what's that movie called? Goddamn Gremlins. They just keep goddamn multiplying. That's why the jails, so many officers are quitting, getting burnt out, because a lot of these young black men, it's a revolving door. And some of them are, most of them are repetitive offenders. I haven't been working for the jail almost a year, and the same criminals keep going back when I was last there. Some of them, most of them are institutionalized. Institutionalized meaning I've given up on being a man. I've given up on getting a real job. I've given up on being a provider. I've given up on being a real father to my children. I've given up on being a backbone to a real good woman. I've given up. I just want to become a nuisance to society. I have decided to make the ultimate decision to become the dead weight to society. That's the mindset of the malnourished ninja, who no longer feels he has a purpose. Because if he felt if he had integrity, or if he felt he had a purpose, he wouldn't go out here taking the lives of other men, because he'll know he himself has too much to lose. Or he'll be out here grinding so hard to get to where he needs to get. He's not focusing on a man who's doing better than him, has more than him, to the point he's so threatened that he want to steal, kill, and rob from him, because he's too busy trying to reach his own goals. He's focusing on doing whatever he has to do. He's not letting another man's success threaten him or get in the way of his hopes and dreams. But the malnourished ninja has, that's just it, y'all. They have no hopes, they have no dreams. Then they get in these jails, and I hear their conversation in the cells. They talk about how they had so much when they was out in the streets. Yeah, man, I had these cars up here lying, you know, trying to gas each other up. Man, I had so-and-so cars. Man, I had these kind of shoes. Man, I had these kind of outfits. Not realizing that all that stuff is gone. You would never get another new pair of shoes. You would never get nothing you ever had outside of this jail. It no longer will exist to you in the prison life. All the women you was laying, all the clubs you was going to, all the guys you was jacking, robbing, stealing, killing. Now you in prison where you got to survive to cover yourself in your booty hole day in and day out. They don't think about that. At the point in time, it's all about making that lick. The malnourished ninja, whenever he is in the proximity of the successful black man, the only thing that is going through his demonic mind at that time is, I want what he got. Who is he to think he's better than me when we both started from the bottom together? All because this man had enough ambition in him to fight, and he had the drive to go for what he wanted, while you sat on your ass and you've been lazy on yours. You didn't want to drive nothing but your baby mama Honda Accord. Successful black man cannot be great in a hood full of starving Negroes. It's not going to work. If not robbing you, all they look is for the opportunity to try to hurt you, just like they did with Takeoff. Coincidentally, it wasn't a robbery. It wasn't a carjack that took place over a simple misunderstanding over a card game, dice game, whatever. They had to escalate it to pulling out a gun and shooting him. Why? I tell you why. Because his success became an irritant to the malnourished ninja who snuffed him. And when it comes out, because it's going to come out, I really don't believe this case is going to go cold. I don't believe it for a second. It's going to come out. And when we see who this individual is, we're going to see he's a poverty-stricken, malnourished, an incel to society, dead weight to society. It's going to be a nobody who practically has nothing. It's not going to be somebody who has a good job. It's not going to be somebody who takes care of his family. I doubt he's going to be a married man. He's not going to be a black man that has a purpose in society and life. He's going to be one who has no purpose when the shooter is revealed. Just like it's been revealed with the young men who murdered the young Dolph. When the truth comes out and you see these young black men who have been exposed and they stand in the front of the court on live TV, on CNN, having to reveal their face, now you see the shame, the embarrassment, because it's over now. You had your 10 minutes of fame by, you know, destroying another legacy. And now it's over. Nobody cares. Whatever you got within them 10 minutes, whether it was his jewelry, his car, or sometimes it ain't about the jewelry in the car. It's about street cred. Whatever name you thought you made for yourself, it's no good. After a couple of weeks, it dies down. Nobody even remembers you. They just remember you for being a coward that you are. You get no love. You get no shout out, no recognition. What you do is you build yourself a lot of enemies, because most of the time, the successful man has way more support than the malnourished ninja. The successful man has fans that's rooting for justice. He has family who he has been taken care of that's fighting to make sure that he gets some type of justice. In other words, the successful man has real support. The malnourished ninja has no support. As I recall, them guys who killed young Dolph, I don't think none of them probably even got money go on the books. None of their homies in the street who they thought was going to give them love for taking this young man's life, the successful man's life. I bet they barely even get visitation, barely even get money put on commissary. That's what the starving, malnourished ninja doesn't understand. Whatever little bit of hype or glory he gets out of it from the moment, it's going to be meaningless. And sooner or later, now you're going to have to face the real deal. You're already going to be locked away. You're already going to have people in prison who know you for what you've done. And they waiting to catch you slipping. Waiting for you to go in the bathroom by yourself so they could attack you to do God knows what. Wait for a moment to catch you slipping, because these jails and prisons don't have enough officers to observe and catch everything. And truth be told, hell, these successful men you murdering, you think these correctional officers are not fans? Hell, some of them even family. You think they're going to give a damn if a group of guys beating the hell out you in the bathroom, jumping you, taking turns, you know, running trains on you? Hell, the officer, they act like they don't know nothing. They ain't seen nothing. And it's pretty easy doing that now because the jails are so short-staffed. Who's going to come to your rescue? You already hate it. You already have no respect. It's bad enough the inmates not going to like you. The correctional officers ain't going to like you. Because guess what? Correctional officers, they got sons. They got husbands. They got black men in their family. And I don't care how professional you are as an officer, when you encounter these type of individuals, you really don't care what happens to them. Hell, I mean, if somebody's attacking you, I'll get to you eventually, but I'm at least get them a good 5 minutes to get some licks in. And if you, however you make it through them 5 minutes, it's them 5 minutes. Nobody has any respect for the malnourished ninja who destroys the legacy of the successful black man. Nobody cares. In this case, like I said, this man was not even doing anything wrong. But the thing is, once you reach a level of success, you cannot, unfortunately, you cannot stoop back down. You can't stoop down to the level of normalcy you once knew, because it doesn't work that way. Once you go from moving out the projects to becoming an artist, you will never be on the same level. I don't know the story, but as I can recall, he was playing dice. 9 times out of 10, it was some malnourished ninjas. Because if everybody had money, if all it was millionaires rolling dice, nobody wouldn't have got shot or killed, because everybody still knew whether they won that game or not, they still had bank. So 9 times out of 10, it was somebody who was already in the struggle, just waiting for the moment, waiting for a slip, just so they can have a reason to take you away from something that they've always wanted for themselves, that they never felt worthy of ever getting. The biggest threat to black men, again, is not black women, it's not white women, it's not white men. The biggest threat to black men is poverty-stricken, broken black men who don't have nothing. Broke black men is what's taking the lives of successful black men. I rarely heard a successful black man take the life of another successful black man. It's always a black man that's lacking finances, lacking confidence, lacking support. Those are the ones that are destroying the successful population of black men. So with that being said, y'all, I'm not going to go on and on about this. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. This was straight jealousy. It was straight enviousness. This was an individual who was already taunted just being in the presence of Quavo, of Takeoff, and the other entourage who was present. He was already threatened, knowing that losing money was not going to be nothing for them. But whoever it was, and the details are still vague, so don't quote me on this for sure, I'm just hypothetically speaking, but whoever it was already feeling like a loser. So that's why they had no problem taking it upon themselves to take the life of another black man. So anyway, y'all, leave y'all comments below. Thank y'all for being patient with me with my raspy voice. Hopefully my voice comes back to normal. I'm working on it. I've been drinking hot tea and lemon. It's a slow process, but I felt this upload was way overdue, and I definitely need to speak on it today, especially during such a tragic event. Again, my heart goes out to Takeoff, to Offset, to Quavo, to all the fans, to all the families. Please keep them in prayers. This is going to be a long, bumpy road. They're going to have to deal with the funeral. They're going to have to deal with detectives. You know, during times like this, you can't trust nobody. You don't know if the enemy's smiling in your face. You don't know if somebody knows something and they're holding back on information. So my heart especially goes out to the mother, because it is no joke losing a child. So anyway, y'all, leave a comment below. Let me know what y'all think. Give me your intake on this whole situation. How do y'all think it's going to play out? So I'm going to get ready to shut it down. Make sure you please hit that like button before you leave, y'all. It's not enough of black female content creators such as myself that's getting a lot of notoriety or shine through the algorithms. So please make sure y'all like and share the video. That is really helpful to me and my channel. So anyway, y'all, this is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha. Remember, I'm going to always pour you a cup of truth and always break you off with a slice of knowledge. Y'all pray for me to get well as well. Be blessed, y'all. Take care.